What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the overall markets. And break down what's happening with the market moving forward as we have new factors out there. And also why the market saw a massive sell-off after some things that Donald Trump said. Just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. And the offer ends very, very soon at the end of March. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with the market, at least so far. NIO got some very, very good news. They've opened their first power swap station in the UAE, showing their exposure and growth in the Middle East, which is great news. However, despite the fact that NIO is trying to bounce, the whole market got a big rug pull after some things Donald Trump said. So I'll talk about what Trump said, then I'll break down what's happening with the charts. So the market sold off very hard. We saw Nvda trying to bounce, but then it got this big rug pull. We saw Google, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, all the big tech stocks absolutely dump. We saw finance being a little bit flat, but all the other sectors were pretty much in the red. Tomorrow we have PCE inflationary data coming out. This is very important because PCE is very similar to CPI. Why is that important? Because CPI dictates the Fed's policies. It's going to be affecting prices and businesses, and so will PCE. The Fed tends to prioritize that for data, and this is just another important inflationary measure. So when CPI came out, we saw everything go up, and also know that on the core side, that in particular was what really went up. For PCE data, okay, we have this coming out for tomorrow. We're expecting 2.5% for all items year over year. And for month over month, we're expecting 0.3 to 0.4% for all items. On the core side, for month over month, we're expecting 0.3 to 0.4%, a slight increase. And we're also expecting core to be at 2.6 to 2.7%, a slight decrease. So I think that core is going to be a little hot. That's what happened with CPI. And then all items should be close to expectations, but I'm a little worried about that. Core PCE should not be that good because of what we saw from CPI. There's a very good chance of that, especially as energy prices are continuing to go up. So you want to be very careful with this data. Now, could the market still try to gap up despite bad data? It's possible, but then we could see a slowdown as time goes on because of what we're seeing, at least in charts. Nvidia had earnings. We also had Delta Day, and we have Fubo TV tomorrow. Nvidia had good earnings. We saw a very, very nice amount of growth in their data center business. That is making up the majority of their revenue. Good margins, good growth, beating on EPS and revenue, and good guidance. But unfortunately, it was not enough to see the share price run. It tried to push in the morning for the first hour or two, and then we got a massive rug pull and it's down 7%. Why are we down so much? One of the reasons is Donald Trump. So there's already so much fear about the economy, about the markets, but then Donald Trump started saying some very important things. Before I read what he said on these websites, let me actually read his quotes. I actually have them for you guys just to remove biases. So first off, Donald Trump was speaking yesterday and today, and these are some of the things he said. Donald Trump said the decision on the EU tariffs are 25%. Details on EU tariffs are coming very soon. The EU can try to retaliate on tariffs, but EU tariffs are going to be 25% on autos and other things. Donald Trump said he also thinks that we'll have a deal with Russia. He went on about that. And then he also said that the US is going to be investing in China. China won't be able to take advantage of the US. The relationship is a good one, but the tariffs will go on, not all of them, but a lot of them. No stopping the tariffs. We have good relationships, but the tariffs will continue. That's what Donald Trump said yesterday. Okay, so he's saying the same thing, that he wants to go forward with the tariffs. Then he said that he wants to go forward with the tariffs on Canada and Mexico as soon as the coming Tuesday. He's saying that on March 4th, we're going to be looking for 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and 10% tariffs on Canadian oil. Very important news. That's going to be, very impactful for the way in which this market is going to be reacting. And then he also said that the 10% tariff on Chinese goods has been declared, and that there could be another addition to the 10%. So we're talking about more tariffs possibly on China, on Canada, and Mexico. And then Donald Trump also plans on imposing 25% tariffs on the European Union. He said that they could retaliate if they want, but once again, he's not stopping. He said that, and these are his quotes, guys, the EU was created to screw the USA. He said that the EU has been taking advantage of the USA, adding they don't accept our cars, they don't accept essentially our farm products, and we accept everything from them. Donald Trump also continues to threaten tariffs on, all these other countries. The same thing over and over again. That's what Donald Trump has been saying. Besides that, one thing that's worth mentioning is that the goods imported to the US from the EU's 27 member countries totaled $606 billion in 2024. This is also going to cover extra costs. Which products may be affected, in case you guys are curious? We're just talking about the EU specifically. This will be impacting mechanical appliances and electrical equipment, pharmaceutical products, vehicles and aircraft, other other instruments. Then we have like agricultural products, wines, liquors, beers, dairy products, organic chemicals, oil, gas, coal, and the list goes on. And then if oil starts going up, gas, that could be having another effect on other products. So all of that's going to be affected by the EU tariffs. 25% is extreme. So for those who are arguing that, what about in 2018? Well, in 2018, his tariffs were not this extreme. I think that he's going a lot more extreme this time around. And then on top of that, there's more fear because he's trying to raise them on everyone, the EU, on China, Canada, Mexico, all these different countries. And it's leading to more fears. It's affecting behavior from consumers. It's affecting a lot of different things. I think Donald Trump also spoke today talking about how he mentioned that tariffs are going to be on cars and all other things. Those are his quotes. He also said that when it comes to tariffs, they're going to be including semiconductors. He said that previously. I don't think he mentioned that recently. But once again, that's actually very, very big because when semiconductors get affected, it's going to be affecting computer prices. It's going to be affecting chips. It's going to be affecting a lot of different products. So semiconductors could be next. Be careful, guys. Um, he's been saying that for quite some time, and he remains very, very fixated on this. There's a lot of fear right now in the markets. We're at extreme fear, and the market's showing no signs of bouncing. The market's taking a big hit as a result of this. The put to call option ratio is starting to go up as well. I also want to add that when it comes to tariffs, this is what we're looking at so far. 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico as soon as March 4th. Some could be 10% on Canadian products such as like oil. 10% tariffs on China plus more. 25% tariffs on the EU. And then we have other countries that could get named very, very soon. Why is this causing a sell-off? It's negative for our GDP for the short term. Higher inflation, yes. Other countries may increase tariffs back on the US. This will hurt businesses for the short term. This will, however, increase governmental revenue. The government's going to make a lot more money off of this. Donald Trump is also doing this for fairness. So, he's arguing that it's worth it. We'll see about that because this could. I saw a study that said over the next couple of years that this will generate trillions in revenue for the government over the next 4 years if he imposes like the tariffs on the EU, on China, on Mexico, and all these different countries. But can the US's money that we make off these tariffs offsets the negative GDP? Can we help to offset shorter term inflation, higher prices, and all that? We'll have to see about that. So with that being said, going into tomorrow, okay, for NIO, we have a wick right here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a small dip to like 4.6, then we try to continue to hold up. Overall, it's showing some resilience as long as they're above 4.4. We'll see if that ends up being the case. For other factors out there, we have SPY. SPY is dumping really hard right now. There's no sign of a bounce at 585. If that fails us, we could be dipping even more all the way down towards 580, then 575. There's going to be our next targets if this continues to fail. Now, keep in mind, we've dumped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row. It's extremely rare for SPY to drop that many days in a row without some kind of bounce. If you go back in the chart, it's very rare. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's another time we had like almost 6 days and then we bounced immediately after. So we'll see. Like it's very, very rare to get 7 days in a row. But I just want to say we look very heavy. There's no sign of a bounce. Every day we gap up and dump, gap up, dump, gap up, dump. So we'll see if we gap up tomorrow. I do think we're going to try to retest like 587 to 588. And then we'll see if we can reclaim 590. If we can't, we could just make another lower high and then continue to dump all the way down close to 580 or below. So keep that in mind. For the QQQ, we're looking weak right now. We're trying to gap up and we'll see if we get a rejection or not. Same thing, we gap up and dump, gap up and dump, gap up and dump almost every day. This is looking very bearish. We have a gap to fill way down here at 491. Could we gap up tomorrow? It's possible. We're at the psychological 500 support, so look for a little rebound in the morning because every morning we just gap up anyways. And we'll see if the dump continues. We could be coming down to fill that gap. ES is dumping, no sign of a bounce. We're near the 200 EMA. We need to get back above 5,900. If we hold that, we're good. If not, we could be dumping towards 5,850. For the IWM Russell 2000, the daily is looking weak as well, especially as we have this big dump right here. We have a left shoulder heading to the right shoulder. This may continue to fall all the way down towards like the 205 area. For NQ, we have 20,619. If that fails us, we could be dumping back down to 20,500. We're still looking very, very weak right here. For Bitcoin, we're dumping right here. We have a double top leg structure. We're looking very weak. No sign of a balance. We have these imbalances below. Because of these wicks right here, I do think we could try to retest 85,620 at the 200 EMA before this continues to dump, but we still look very, very weak. Nvda, 120 is our support. We'll see if that holds. If not, I could be looking for us to dip towards 115. It's also looking very weak. Even after earnings were good, it's still dumping. Tesla is looking very weak. We have a gap to fall all the way down towards 250. We'll see if we get a rebound. I mean, it's not really doing a good job at rebounding. It tried to do it today and failed. So at this rate, we're going to be dumping to like 275 and 250 soon. We'll see if we get a small rebound first. But otherwise, we do favor downside. Aapl, we're losing 238. We have to see if we can get back above 240. It's possible we try to do that before it continues to dip, but it is looking very dippy, very weak right now. This also kind of looks like a relatively weak structure, like an inverse cup and handle. Not the best, guys. So this is like a high, came down, lower high right here, then we came down. Still looks bearish. Looking at Palantir, we're looking bearish. Haven't bounced yet. We'll see if we try to bounce with gap support at 84 before we continue to fall towards 80 flat. For AMD, we're on a downtrend. We could continue to fall. There's no sign of a bounce. We're not even past this key trend line right here. So this could continue to fall back down towards 95. Coin is looking weak here. It's continuing to dump, and we could be dipping closer to about 205 to 200, especially as we have this gap down here to fill. If we don't hold 205, we're looking for a dump back down to 200, then 193. Still looks bearish to me. Amzn was supposed to hold 215. We'll see if we can reclaim that or not for a small rebound, but we're going to be watching this low at 204. If we break that low, I do expect us to dump to 201, then eventually the gap fill around 197. There's also a gap down here to 190, so it still looks bearish. We'll see if we bounce first before it tries to dip. Meta is barely holding support at 657. If that holds, we could rebound a bit before it continues to fall. If we eventually lose that, I do expect us to dump towards 632. Microsoft is looking bearish. No bounce. I want to see it get back above 395 at least. If we can't, might be a small rebound before it continues to dump back down towards 390, then 386. Google is going to be likely dumping all the way down towards 165, so we'll give it some time. The VIX is bullish. The head and shoulders failed. This is continuing to run. No sign of rejection yet. The market, it's very rare to get 7 red days in a row, so we'll see if we get some kind of rebound tomorrow morning. But as of right now, there's no sign of a bounce. The market still favors downside, so it's possible we dip a little bit more, and then maybe we try to bounce end of day tomorrow, if not by Monday, maybe. But I just want to say that right now, there's no sign on the charts. Could it happen tomorrow? Maybe. But for now, we favor a gap up, then a dump, especially because PCE data is likely not going to be the best. That's the most logical thing I could tell you. The market still remains bearish. So we'll give the market some time. NIO is trying to rebound here. As long as we don't lose 4.4, we could kind of dip a bit and try to bounce, and we're still showing some resilience. We'll see how it goes. Donald Trump is announcing new tariffs. The market's not liking it, so please keep that in mind. I thank you for listening, and peace out.